Hi, it's your $2 Tuesday movie critic here today with another round of Oscar nominations for the year 2025. So today we're looking at achievement in directing. We have Sean Baker for Anora, Brady Corbet or Corbet for The Brutalist, James Manigold or Mangold for A Complete Unknown, Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez, and Coralie Fargeet for The Substance. Okay, so as you know, this category is notorious for only choosing a man in this category. There have been a couple of, well, I think one woman that has won Best Director, even though several have been nominated for Best Director, since there have been a lot of, questions as to why only men are winning this. So there have been two wins, if I'm not correct, if I'm correct, which I believe I am. And I didn't necessarily agree with those just because I saw the movies, but that's neither here nor there because we're talking about these 5 movies today. And one actually has a female director, and she's the last one on the list, so we'll get to her. But let's start with Sean Baker for Anora. Okay. The director is also the screenwriter of this movie, so I just wanted to point that out. I can say the direction was only as good as the movie. And that's with any movie. The director is the one that calls the shots. That, I'm sure there's a collaboration going on, but the director is the one that has the final say. I suppose it's an updated version of Pretty Woman, only there is no substance or content, for a better word. This movie should have been no more than 90 minutes, if that. Some scenes were too long, like the chasing scene, and some scenes should not have been in there, like all the partying. I mean, you just go from one party scene to another party scene to another party scene until you're like, okay, we get it. You guys are partying a lot. That's part of your hangout thing. Your group of you get together, you party. We get it. So, but yeah, this movie for me, I think the director kind of went in the way of, hey, let's add as much as we can to the movie, and it doesn't necessarily have to be content. Or if it is content, it's the very superficial content, as i.e. the partying, the having sex, maybe one conversation between the two main characters in the entire movie, so it's crazy. But anyway, let's go on to the next. The Brutalist, and this is with director Brady Corbet. The movie was way too long, extremely too long, and it really did not have to be. There were scenes that really did not need to be there, like the scene with the whores. I don't even know why that was needed. I mean, yeah, the whore talks about Laszlo's nose being broken, but they don't even show his nose being broken unless I missed that part, which I don't think I did because that was at the beginning of the movie. So who cares? I mean, he cares, of course, it's his nose, but this was not based on a true story, so we don't really need these details that in the long run are, don't really add to the story at all, unless they just wanted to show some nudity, which maybe that was it. And that wasn't the only nudity in the movie, so they could have saved that too. Okay, some scenes were too long, like the search and rescue scene. That was at the latter part of the movie. The ending of the movie was way too choppy between the last scenes. It took the sentimental portion or meaningful moments and weakened them. A good director would and should have seen this. So yeah, this was not my cup of tea, let's just say. And then we have A Complete Unknown, directed by James Mangold. So I don't think his direction was to make Dylan seem like this complete, grateful novice to then turn into a famous jerk. I don't think anyway. I think that is how he will look to people of a different generation, or maybe as a rebel. Also, the movie did nothing to introduce him to a new audience in a positive light or meaningful way. To me, the movie portrayed Dylan, his music, and his acts as something of the past, meaning to stay in the past. So, yeah, that was for me because they stopped it there. And I know by reading the previews that it's supposed to be a movie about him and his defining moment of going from acoustic guitar to electric guitar, and then also going from folk music to rock music. But the way he did it in the movie, it was just a pretty jerky move. But that's just me. Okay, we're not here to talk about the storyline. Well, kind of, because we are talking about the direction. And let's go to our next one, Amelia Perez. Okay, and this is by Jacques Audiard. Okay, the direction of this film was not always known by the viewer, but as the movie went on, it all seemed so seamless. It really was. The storyline made sense. The characters made sense. The best part was that if willing, the viewer could see themselves in one or more of the characters. Not in every aspect of the story, of course, but in some parts and some, like I said, some characters. I doubt cartel members would be watching a movie in between their life of crime, but in the aspect of wanting to be your true self, wanting to love what you do, wanting to not feel alone in the life, and or wanting to meet the love of your life and know they love you back. These are all things that are part of Amelia Perez, the movie, and these are things that the director shows, and it's depicted in such a beautiful way. So yeah, in this movie. And then last but not least, The Substance, directed by Coralie Fargeet. This was a movie that told a recurring story, the search for everlasting beauty. However, maybe this was more about fame, or maybe it was about being youthful, or maybe all of the above. To me, the direction fell flat because it focused far too much on the horror and awe rather than the meaning of the movie. So it kind of like maybe got lost in direction. Okay, so those are the 5 nominations. For me, the clear choice is Amelia Perez. So let's go back over. Anora lacked substance, for lack of a better word. Or I could even say lacked content. Real, true content. It did. And even context. I mean, you can't go through it just saying, oh, it's a different version of Pretty Woman, because it's not. So it lacked context. It lacked content. It was just, yeah, that for me. The Substance lacked a true storyline. The Brutalist was the Brutalist was way longer than it had to be. Plus, the ending was rushed. A Complete Unknown tried to make Bob Dylan more complex than he really was. And that's according to people that follow Bob Dylan. I don't know enough to say how complex he was, but and Amelia Perez is everything the other movies are not and more. So great direction there, Mr. Jacques Audiard. And I know that's French, so I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, so I apologize. So those are my picks and my my point of view on those movies. So if you agree or disagree, let me know below. And also, thank you for letting me share some of my views with you. All right. I hope to share more next time.